On this episode of the Lone Wolf Chat, I'm going to do something a little bit different. This episode's not going to focus on writing. It's actually going to focus on being famous in social media. And what actually inspired me to do this episode, despite the normal gameplay that you're seeing on screen if you're watching my YouTube video, is the fact that I was watching D'Angelo Wallace's video on his general anxiety, his mental health, and I decided to do a video on it because here's the thing they don't talk about, or I don't talk about, well, I may have talked about it, but I don't remember when in the writing industry, and that's on the marketing and the time needed to stay relevant in a ever-growing social media market. When you're in the writing industry, one of the many things you're told when you get into this industry is that you need to be up on top of social media. Like you need to at least tweet once a week. You should be doing YouTube videos. You should just basically have a social media presence. Now, me personally, I chose, even though I have a Twitter page, I update on certain issues. I do YouTube videos, but this year I haven't been doing them as much, mostly because of, well, I have life issues I have to deal with. I don't have the personal time. I'm not in my 20s. I didn't start getting on social media until, well, I mean, I had a Twitter page back in college, but I wasn't like tweeting and going completely nuts online and collaborating and, you know, talking to people like I do now. And even, I think what it is for me, and this is just me speaking personally, even though I haven't published a book and, you know, experts talk about you need a social media presence, there's this thing about just always being online that just gets to you. And it sucks that it's not talked about more. And coupled with that, you know, with D'Angelo Wallace's mental health and anxiety, it made me think about my own mental health and anxiety. I don't talk about it much, but I suffer from some anxiety disorder. Not only do I have seasonal depression, adult ADHD, regular bouts of depression, especially during my menstrual cycle, but I suffer from a condition called trichotillomania, which is basically, in layman's terms, I pluck out my eyelashes and my eyebrows. It's gotten better over the years with me doing various tasks, such as focusing, you know, try to get myself out of the depression hole that I get, or anxious hole that I get myself into. I go to the gym now. I take time for myself. And it's the one thing they don't talk about when you get into the social media industry, that you need to take time for yourself. It's always about being, let's be quick, let's make sure we have multiple videos out. If someone's disagreeing with me, let me go to argue with them. And even with my TikTok page, which has arguably more followers than my YouTube page, which with the following for TikTok, it's more because people like one video. It's like, okay, I like your content, so like your one video, so I'm gonna follow you. But yet no one ever really comments on your content or likes it, or TikTok's algorithm shadow bans you. So just that alone, you know, how do I put this? So I have these issues, and what I've chosen to do, plus I work in the customer service industry, which is, come August will be my 9th year working in the customer service industry. I had to learn, because of the high stress environment that I work in, to give myself internal peace. And it's almost like the social media industry does not focus on internal peace. They focus on the negative, or they want to exploit people either at their highest or their lowest. That's what it feels like in that audience. And I personally do not subscribe to being the 100% most social media savvy person in the universe. I don't see that self for me. At some point, I'm going to become a mom. And if I'm going to be a mom, I have to learn to give myself boundaries. And one of the biggest boundaries is generally not feeding into the negativity that comes with social media. So with that background in mind, the reason why I thought about what Deandra Wallace was saying and the patterns of people saying, I often wonder if being on social media like this is worth it. You get a gold plate from YouTube, but you don't get mental health services from YouTube. You don't get a counselor to come speak with you on YouTube. You get a partner, and they barely pay you pennies on the dollar. And I'm just talking about YouTube. I'm not even talking about all the other social media platforms. So you have that. So you're based, like, a good number of people who have multiple followers, basically have to subscribe to stuff like Patreon in order to support these artists. So make sure that people aren't just getting paid pennies on the dollar. Now, if you go to something like Twitch, and let me go even broader with that. We got YouTube, Twitch, YouTube gaming, Facebook gaming, Mixer is dead, so I ain't gonna talk about that. TikTok, Snapchat, which I'm still shocked is around. You have all these social media platforms, and not one platform offers mental health help to their prominent people. That's the real problem I have with all of this. We feed into this narrative of a dog-eat-dog society on the social media platform, and these big CEO people just eat them alive and then just throw them out there, and then they're just left with just this emptiness and this anxiety. I personally, even though I'm supposed to be social media savvy, even though I found that I'm rambling my words, but let me say this. I tried to be on Twitch when I wasn't working at the time. Tried to do 2 hours a day and did gaming. First of all, they don't tell you how hard it is to gain a following. I had like Pixel, who's probably listening, so thanks for listening, Pixel. You have maybe one other person. You get people subscribed, but it doesn't mean anything when the fan base isn't there. So they say, oh, you got to work hard to get your fan base. Okay. So with the competition and the hours I was spending trying to set up the game, setting up OBS, which by the way, it works okay. OBS by itself works fine on Mac, but Slop sucks on Mac. And I know people are saying, well, get a PC. My husband gets a PC, but he plays his own games, so I wasn't going to use his stuff. The time I spent took away from the time of me having my own personal piece, and at the end of the day, it wasn't worth it. That's how I felt about that. I even live stream on YouTube for writer stuff on Saturdays, but as we know, a lot of writers are moms, and they have all your stuff that you need to do, all your running around is done on the freaking weekend. During the week, people work. So the audience wasn't there. I didn't get the general anxiety from it. I just said, basically, excuse my French, fuck it, I'm done. I don't have to do all this. What am I doing this for? Am I doing this to build an audience? Or am I doing it for myself? And the writing entry says, oh, get into it because you need to build an audience. But they don't tell you, hey, how do you make that audience? Will you have the energy to do all this stuff? Like, will you be on Instagram, trying to do Instagram lives? Are you going to be sending selfies all the time? Will you be promoting on Facebook when you work 8 hours a day dealing with people? And then they want you to deal with more people on your off time that doesn't pay you. They don't tell you all this when you get into this type of industry. And it really sucks. It's like no one has... I've seen, you know what? That's not true. I've seen some people talk about the downsides of being on social media, but it's weird seeing people younger than me, not just in their 20s, but like teenagers striving to become the next TikTok, Snapchat, or YouTube star. And I'm like, is it really fulfilling? And what some people say is, well, it's fast money. I mean, look at someone like James Charles. James Charles made a whole bunch of money. Yeah, but is James Charles happy is the question. You can have all the money in the world, not be happy. And we've all seen what happens with the beauty industry, so I don't even need to go down that road. Look at the drama industry, which is pretty much, if you ever seen prominent YouTubers like that talk about YouTube drama or even TikTok drama, eat each other alive just for views. The question is, are you happy and is it really worth it? And I've seen too many people in that industry say, I'm taking a mental health break. And they do it over and over again. Now, if they mean it, they mean it. I'm not sure if they mean it or if it's an excuse to get out of something they might have said or done that was probably against what people were expecting or people would agree upon. But it's like this looping narrative that mental health is just pushed to the back. And I'm not downing anybody who's in the YouTube or the social media industry, more power to you. But I don't know how to feel about so many people in their freaking 20s, in their teens, getting general anxiety from not getting enough likes on freaking TikTok. I mean, for me, this is how I felt when I talk about, and this is just me, just thinking about the last couple of videos I made that made a whole bunch of likes. I got a bunch of likes for talking about the Will Smith incident with Chris Rock. The negative thing that happened that everybody was replying to got the most views. When I did a comment about a Chinese drama called Nothing But 30, and I was just talking about this one scene in particular where the woman was violent with another woman, that got a lot of views. When I talked about DuckTales, the ending theme, that got views. But and those are just 3 examples, but I noticed the videos I know go viral are always either negative stuff I've said, never really positive stuff, no skits. I'm like, I really got irritated, and I sat there with myself and I figured, why the fuck am I so irritated? I'm like, it's because TikTok as a platform, let me just real quick. TikTok as a freaking platform has a tendency not only to steal stuff from Black creators, or any creator of color, I really should say, but the fact that someone like Charlie Dam, it was one of those TikTok Caucasian dancers got on Jimmy Fallon and basically got famous from doing that, but she stole the dance from a Black girl, and this girl got no recognition. Says a lot. And then it kept happening, and then all the Black creators decided, you know what, we're not making any more dancing content for a while. Let's see how you guys do. I'm not going to go into the results of that, but just that alone, I was like, why am I so pissed off? I'm like, because I'm trying to work my ass off for something that I'm not making money for. So I just like, okay, I'll do TikToks when I feel like it. And that's what I've been doing lately. Same with YouTube. I'm getting to the point, and maybe because I'm getting closer to 40 because I'm turning 35 this year, that I'm starting to value my mental health and what I'm feeling like for that day over trying to make views for something I'm not making any money on. If you've probably been following me this far, you know, it's the only thing I do is I post it on my website, which I'm still working on, like getting the time together to actually work on that website. I post it on my Twitter page, and I might post it on a friend's Discord. That's freaking it. And I'm worried about the next generation. I sound like an old person every time I say this, but I do worry about the 20-year-olds and the teens and the small children that are being influenced by social media, and they're at the age they are saying, I need to take a mental health break. Why are there no talks about mental health? And that, I mean, there are talks now like, oh, it's okay to have a mental health, break. But I'm like, why hasn't this ever been an issue? Like, why is this happening? Why are we stressing ourselves out for views? Why are we on platforms trying to get views for no money? You're not even getting paid for it. I mean, if you're getting paid for it, okay, more power to you. But then when you get to the point where you're feeling anxious and you're trying to keep up with it and your views are down and you're like anxious over views and not getting responses you want to respond to, that's a problem. That I don't get it. I guess maybe because I'm older and I grew up in the age of MySpace. Well, I didn't grow up in the age of MySpace. I had a MySpace page and then Facebook took over. I was in college. I'm just gonna put it to you that way. And maybe I should have gotten to the industry. Maybe I could have gotten industry earlier, but I wasn't thinking about social media at the time. I was in college trying to learn how to do newspaper journalism, and now I'm on a microphone, putting my degree to work by doing podcasts. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna be real honest. I'm still proud of getting my degree. I'm proud of both degrees I've gotten, master's and bachelor's. Even though I'm in a serious state of student loan debt, like everyone else in the country is, I'm still proud of what I've done. The point of this episode was to talk about mental health because of D'Angelo's video. Like, no one's, it sucks. I'm gonna also link D'Angelo's video. Seeing this young man cry over an industry that does not give a fucking shit about him says a lot. You got people on here making millions of views, millions of dollars for a platform, and you don't even offer mental health. That's a problem. And if they do offer mental health, why is it not prominent? Why are we not talking about this? Why have we created an industry where people have to sit here and get general anxiety over views instead of valuing themselves and their internal peace? Why is this not something that's promoted in the industry? We talk about mental health and they say, oh, it's okay to feel sad, mental health, have mental health issues. I don't want to get into the racial connotations of what people say when they say that, because let's be frank, mental health for people of color is different mental health issues for people of color is different from mental health issues in other communities, primarily Caucasian communities. And I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of why mental health is taking a backseat in especially Black communities, and how if we have any type of mental health issues, we're usually shot on sight, put in jail, or put in a mental institution compared to our white counterparts. I mean, it happens to white people too, but it's not the rate. I hate going down this road, but you can do your own Google research about that. I'm sure there are many dissertations about it, but that's a problem that we have, like the mental health. They say it's okay, but when it comes down to people needing to get help, it's not there. That's the biggest problem I have with the social media industry. There's no help for people. And then what about the kids that make millions like James Charles, and they grow up in that industry, and then when their audience grows up and they stop following them, what happens afterwards? Do you open up a podcast like most of them do? Or do you have to go get a job and have to interact with people? You just spent the last 10 plus years not interacting with regular human beings. You've only interacted on a digital platform. And it's going to show when you have to go to work. And some people are like, well, I'll never have to go to work. Everyone has to work at some point, especially if you just waste all your money and get a $10 million mansion and then have to lose it in the end just to make money. Everyone has to interact with human beings. We are social creatures. Despite what Death to 2020 has said, despite how we felt during the pandemic, I mean, for me, I was okay with it because I still had people in my life that I talked to and got on the phone, talked to people, and FaceTime to look at people. But we're getting to a society where we got kids staring at phones rather than staring at people. I literally went to a family event. My uncle takes our cell phones away from them. I mean, not me because I'm an adult, but most of the kids are under age 18. They get all the kids under age 18 get their phones taken away, and he forces them to talk to each other, look them each other in the eye, because it's getting to the point where kids want to be on that phone all the time and be social media famous and not talk to human beings. It's the downside of the social media industry that no one wants to put an emphasis on and no one wants to talk about. That's the infuriating part of being part of this industry. But for me personally, I don't care that I'm not getting 1,000 views a month for my social media. I enjoy podcasting. I enjoy what I do, but I'm not going to do it to the point where I'm going to hurt my mental health. I've already said in the beginning, I have a myriad of issues, and the last thing I want is to pile on more. I'd be damned if I want to let somebody on the social media platform run me off and say, oh, you're a crazy person. Okay, fine, I'm a crazy person, but at least I have my mental clarity. I'm at the point where I just want, and I know I'm rambling at this point, I want mental peace. And why can't we talk about having mental peace in the industry? We got people having social media or mental breakdowns when they should be getting to the point where they want, planning on what they want to do for their future. What kind of peace they want. That's the problem I'm having with the social media industry. And to keep myself from rambling for a good 30 minutes, I'm going to just cut the episode here. If you are listening, thank you for listening. I have my social media platforms down below. If you have a different take, I'd love to hear it. You can put it in the comments below. You can @ me on my Twitter at LC Clements, and just let you know I have a coffee page, which is Ko-Fi /LC Clements. And I will chat again in the next episode.